Hey, welcome back into the Y'all Show. Jon Rawl talking about the South and more. And we love to cover music and Nashville and all that goes on in the world of country music. And a guy that's joining us right now on the program knows a lot about country music, a lot about the Grand Ole Opry, as he was on that Grand Ole Opry stage for a long, long time. Atwood's his name. And let's go now and bring on to the program Tim Atwood, a longtime Grand Ole Opry keyboardist to the Y'all Show. Welcome into the show, sir.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Well, we're so glad to catch up with you, Tim, as you're a guy who, of course, if you ever went to the Grand Ole Opry stage for a long, long time, you were a big part of that. You were back there just hammering away, and you also got to sing a few songs along the way as well.
I did. Uh, I used to do some duets with Jeannie Seeley, and then when Mr. Acuff found out I could sing, he was letting me sing 4 or 5 songs every matinee and every night. I was just like, it was the coolest thing because Roy Acuff let me sing on his portion.
Is that right? How did you end up going to the Grand Ole Opry and coming to Nashville? What was that backstory?
Well, I moved to Nashville when I was 20 years old. I started to work with a guy by the name of Mel Street, and I worked with Mel Street for a little while. Then I went to work with Jim Ed Brown and Helen Cornelius, and we were doing the TV show Nashville on the Road. And Jerry Whitehurst was the staff piano player at the Grand Ole Opry, but he was also our music director. And he heard me play, and he asked me one day, he said, if you'll just get off the road, anything I can't do or don't want to do, I'll call you first. So I got off the road in 1979 and started working at the Grand Ole Opry as a sub in 1980. And I worked from 1980 all the way up to 2014. So it was just, God just blessed me. That's all I can say.
And again, if you tuned into the Grand Ole Opry for many years, if you caught it on the Nashville network, you might have seen Tim back there playing for the 80s and 90s when they used to broadcast that. And people like Roy Acuff, a huge part of the Grand Ole Opry. And you mentioned Jeannie Seeley, you played there. I even saw a great duet. In fact, let me play that right now on today's Y'all Show, the video for this. This is you and Jeannie Seeley singing the Tanya Tucker, T. Graham Brown duet of Tell Me About It. And this is probably 1993, 94, somewhere in that timeline when you got a chance to go out there and play and, again, sing on the Grand Ole Opry stage with Jeannie Seeley, who I guess you've played with her a lot. I mean, tell us the exact years that you were on the Opry.
Well, like I said, I started in 1976 with Jim Ed Brown. I moved to Nashville in August of 1976. And November 6th of 1976, I played the Opry for the first time. And of course, the guys that I worked with on the road, they were all knew how green I was. I'd never been out on the road, never done anything like that. And they said, well, if you're playing the Opry and you feel Jerry Whitehurst come over and put his hand on your left shoulder, get up because you have screwed up. And they let Whitehurst in on it, so I'm playing. And all of a sudden, I feel his hand on my left shoulder. I went, oh my gosh, my Opry career is over. I'm only about halfway through a song. And I stood up and he goes, sit your butt down. He said, we're just playing with you. But yeah, I worked for years as a sub, but I also worked as a permanent member for over 30 years. I had a great time, worked with everybody from Roy Acuff, Vince Gill, Garth Brooks, Harry Underwood, you just name it. I've just been so lucky and fortunate to be at the right place at the right time.
Yep. We're talking with Tim Atwood, a keyboardist and a longtime member of the Grand Ole Opry as far as the band that played on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. And as a guy myself who used to have an office in the back of the Grand Ole Opry House, I even worked with a lady named Roxanne, who Tim knows pretty well, his wife of many, many years. So congratulations on that feat. Got you a Louisiana girl, and we're happy for you there. But the Opry specifically, the way they have that thing set up is if you've never been to the Opry, essentially an artist will come out and play between 2 and 3 songs. And normally, most of those songs are performed by the house band, Tim Atwood and his fellow Opry band members. And from what I understand, there's not really hardly any rehearsal, if at all, that goes into the various songs that are played on an Opry performance. So tell me, how many songs are played on an Opry on a typical day, and do you actually rehearse at all?
Well, we later on, when I first started, there wasn't a lot of rehearsal. The later it got in the years, we had lots of rehearsal, but there were times when Trace Atkins first hit. He had that song "Every Light in
Every
the House is on."
mm-hmm.
Uh, they booked him like at 7 o'clock that night. He showed up at 9, and we listened to the song once, and we listened to it the second time. We never rehearsed with Trace. We just went out. They put the chart, the number chart, right in front of us, and we just played it. And we had that happen a lot. I mean, there were people that you didn't have a chance to rehearse. They just throw a chart in front of you, and you just play. So it makes you think on your feet real good.
Did it sound pretty good?
They were nerve-wracking times, but at the same time, it was fun to really pull something like that off.
And how did you do looking back? Did y'all do a good job?
We did okay. No, we really did good. That staff band was just phenomenal. It still is. They played on just about anybody's records you can think of. It's a great band, and everybody does their homework. You come in on that night, and you just do your part. And it sounds like we've been doing it for years.
We're talking and visiting with Tim Atwood and special guest. Tim, tell us about your friend there in the background.
Oh, there's not enough time. My friend over here in the background on this side is my little dog, Jazz. But I know you're asking about Roxanne.
No, I'm actually asking about Jazz. We've already talked about Roxanne.
Jazz. Oh, there's Jazz.
Yeah.
There you go. I didn't know that. I thought you were talking about Roxanne.
No. Jazz, how long you had Jazz?
We've had Jazz about 4 years. He's a rescue dog. And when we got him, I was on the road a lot. I had been out on the road with Ronnie McDowell and some other folks doing a big concert series. And we got Jazz because Roxanne did not want to be in the house by herself. So we got Jazz, and he is truly a blessing. He's one of the best little dogs, and we just enjoy him so much.
Well, one of the reasons we have Tim Atwood on today's Y'all Show, in addition to his incredible musical prowess, he's got a lot of stories to tell. So you're called the entertainer's entertainer, Tim. So tell me some of the entertaining things that have happened with you and also your fellow musicians that are at least suitable for the Y'all audience.
Well, like I said, I spent so many years on the Opry, and I watched what I considered were the best entertainers. Jimmy Dickens, Porter Wagner, Roy Acuff, T.D. Seeley, Bill Anderson. I mean, the list goes on. And I watched them night after night and going, I can do that if I just put my mind to it. I know I can be an entertainer. And that's what I do. I'm going to sing a couple songs. I'm going to get a song that'll tug at your heart. Then I'm going to get you a song that's clapping. Then I'm going to turn around and tell a couple jokes just like Jimmy Dickens and Porter used to do. I love good old corny jokes. I mean, I just love to hear people laugh almost as much as I love to hear the applause. Minnie Pearl once said, applause to an entertainer like making love to an old maid. You just can't overdo it.
I like that. Of course, you worked with Minnie Pearl there at the Opry before she passed away in the early 90s.
Yeah, I actually I loved it. Back in the day, I was probably 24, 25. I was working the Opry, and Miss Minnie would come out, and I had grown a full beard. It was the late 70s. And Miss Minnie would come out on stage, and she'd turn to me, and she said, look at him, girls. Ain't he purty? And, of course, everybody kind of laughed. And she would walk over to me. She'd make me stand up from the piano bench. She would grab my face and kiss me right on the lips, and then turn around to the audience and say, you know how it is, girls. You don't mind going through a little brush to get to a picnic.
Well, I don't know how much comedy you're putting into your performances. As you said, you're on the road some, and you're also appearing on television shows as a keyboardist and singer as well. In fact, we've got a clip here from Larry's Country Diner, where you were on that not all that long ago, and had a chance to maybe tune in to maybe RFD or one of the networks that has that. So how often do we see Tim Atwood performing around the country?
Well, that's all I do now. I love to go out. I love to perform. I enjoy people. And right now it's kind of tough. I'm enjoying Roxanne, but I'd like to see somebody else for just a few
Well, you got
minutes.
Jazz.
Oh, we got Jazz. Yeah, he takes up a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, again, you're a keyboardist and you're able to sing and perform keyboard. And I gotta make a statement here. You don't have to necessarily agree with me, but I don't think keyboards are getting quite the amount of volume and appreciation in today's modern country music as we have seen in the past. It seems like that darn guitar gets a lot more praise and a lot more face time than the keyboards. What can we do to save keyboards?
Well, you know what? I've played keyboards now for, let's see, 50 years. I've been playing keyboards. I'm like you. Everything you hear anymore is more guitar driven. There's not a lot of piano stuff. But originally, Nashville had Owen Bradley, who produced Loretta Lynn and Brenda Lee and a bunch of them, and he was a piano player. And there was a lot of piano back then. Patsy Cline stuff that he did. There was a lot of piano in that. But today's market's a little different than it was back then, and I think keyboard will get its opportunity to come back around. I'm hoping so, anyhow.
Okay. Well, we'll check out your information and what all's going on. Go to the website, timatwood.com, where hopefully soon, Tim, you're going to have some tour dates that people can come see you in concert. That would be a nice thing. And catch up with all that. Do you have any CDs available right now that people can purchase?
Well, I have 3 CDs right now. One of them's called Buy This Piano Drink. The other one is Old Time Religion. I started out in gospel music, so I did a gospel music tribute. And then the newest album I have out right now is called Living the Dream, and it's got some great material on it. And I'm so excited because we just started the 4th CD. I can't believe I'm almost ready to have 4 CDs out at my age. But I really am. I'm excited about this new project. There's some great stuff coming out on it. It should be out later on this year.
All right. Check it out. Again, go to timatwood.com. That's the website. Tim, thank you for coming on our show today. Also want to thank Roxanne and, of course, Jazz for giving us a little time. And now we'll let you go back to Jazz time if you'd like. But thank you again, and congratulations on your many decades of playing keyboards and being on the Grand Ole Opry. And we look forward to following your career even more.
Well, I sure appreciate it. I hope you have a blessed day. John, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank y'all. More of the Y'all Show continues after this break. Don't you go anywhere. We've got hashtag Hullabaloo coming to get the weekend going. This is the Y'all Show.